Hola, Francisco. How are you doing?
Hola, Jorge. Well, not the best week.
True.
Probably our listeners have heard about the horrible accident, the train accident that took place on Sunday night
Yeah,
here in Spain. We were just talking about it. We're totally overwhelmed. 39 people to this point have died. Uh, I don't know. Both of us are deeply concerned about it. Our hearts is with all the families, and it's a national tragedy.
absolutely. Yeah, it's I feel hurt in the Spanish pride, mainly because, of course, the loss of all these lives and the concern of everything. But anyway, I don't know up to a point we will ever know what's the reason of this accident, like any of the accidents, that happens, these tragedies, etc., etc. I have to personally thank a lot of friends from the United States that they got in touch with me as soon as they learned about this tragedy. Um, Actually, I was planning to go this past weekend to Malaga to do a couple of things, but I was going to be very, very busy this coming weekend doing other things. And I thought, well, okay, I'll go somewhere else. I mean, sometime else, some other time, that's what I mean. But it could have been that train, it could have been another. We never know. Our destiny, I know, is written somewhere. But yes, it's what you said. I remember when we not so long ago we were discussing our topics to talk about in the weeks, and we were so excited that we were going to talk about what today's topic is, and then now we have to send here out there this sorrow that we are suffering. And well, Francisco, it's it's kind of weird, isn't it?
It is. It's very weird, and especially, obviously, it's too early. We don't know what has happened. We don't know if it's a human factor or whatever. As you said, it's who the hell cares? 39 people have died,
Sure.
and it's
Mm.
terrible. So we are in national sadness
Morning,
and
yeah,
mourning. That's
morning,
it's
yeah.
national mourning. Yeah, it has been very, very hard, but
True. We'll
life
be
has
back
to
in a
go on.
second. Okay, Francisco, we'll be back in a second. All right.
Well, Jorge, as we said, we had already planned this week's topic, and
True.
we're going to continue with that.
Yeah.
So, this week, we are going to be talking about another of the prides of our country, which are the national paradores, national hotels.
Correct. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So, Jorge, first of all, let's start with some history of it.
Yeah.
So, tell me about the history, the origins, and all of that.
Okay, Paradores. Parador means something like a place where you can parar, you can stop. So Parador
Mhm.
gives you a wide spectrum of a kind of an inn with a little bit of food that you can eat, etc., etc. But the concept, actually, not the concept, the entire idea. It was a kind of a journey that began in the early tourism experiment in 1910 and evolves into one of Spain's most emblematic institutions. We are very proud of our paradores in Spain. Just as a little side note here, remember, Francisco, our very first stages in Spanish loops? Chapter number
Mm.
8 was specifically about tourism in Spain, and we talk about briefly about paradores in that chapter. Season 1, chapter 8. So
Oh,
that
that was
is a
ages ago,
long, that's a long time
three,
ago.
4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, just getting back in our history today, all this started with a very simple idea. It was to improve travel conditions and project to to project a better image of Spain abroad, and it ended up becoming a nationwide network that protects history, heritage, historical heritage, I better say, boosts local economies, and offers travelers the chance to sleep inside castles, monasteries, palaces, and everything surrounded by incredible and natural and extraordinary landscape. Everything officially began with the very first Parador that opened in the town of Gredos in 1928. And
Okay.
it was driven by the vision of the Marquis of La Vega Inclán. And it was supported by the then king, which is the, wait a minute, the great grandfather.
Alf
Yes, of what's the guy?
Alphonse.
Alfonso XIII. Yeah,
Yeah.
great
Hmm.
grandfather of an actual monarch, right? And from there, the network expanded across the country. And the good thing is that they were rescuing abandoned buildings and transforming them into unique hotels that today are inseparable from Spain's cultural identity. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so
Yeah.
for our listeners, the Paradors are all these magnificent heritage buildings that now they have been transformed into hotels. But where did the idea come from?
Well, as I said earlier, it was a gentleman called Vega in Clans that he has a vision, right? And that's the idea started in 1910 until 1928 when the very first one was opened. So the idea, since it was born at the time, Spain lacked of a proper infrastructure for travelers, especially outside, sorry, of major cities. The government entrusted the Marquis of La Vega Inclán, obviously part of the nobility, aristocracy, intellectual and passionate promoter of Spanish culture, with the task of modernizing tourism. He was the what today could be called the Ministry of Tourism. Okay,
Okay.
so they created a kind of commission. It was a commission of tourism, and he imagined a network of inns, paradores, okay, designed for travelers. But my thought is that unlike traditional roadside lodgings, they will combine comfort, aesthetics, value, and historical significance. The goal was not luxury for luxury's sake, like many hotels at the time that they were in big cities all over Europe, including Spain. Okay. It was just quality, beauty, identity. Sometimes it helped through the rehabilitation of emblematic buildings that they were falling into ruin. So, in many ways, I do believe that it was a very revolutionary idea for its
Yeah.
time. And tourism was a tool for cultural preservation as a national pride.
Well, I mean, I think that's a great thing. It started all as, like a pride to keep up our heritage and put it into value and into use. And I guess there was a planning to do that. I mean, okay, we don't open the one in Gredos, and that's it. So,
Yeah, that's true. As I said, it was a kind of a vision that this gentleman had, like a kind of a few ones, just restoring historical buildings. So after years of planning, the very first one, it was inaugurated in October the 9th, 1928. Have you ever been in that one, Francisco?
in the one in Gredos, no? Have you?
I have a couple of times, and I have to tell you, in purpose, because the second time I wanted to talk to the because of my job, right? I
Hmm.
wanted to talk to the manager. So I presented myself with my card, business card, etc., etc. And then we had like about 5 minutes chat. And I said, "But why are you keeping this if it was in 1928?" And I said, well, it is a kind of a non-written rule that they want to keep the Parador as it was in 1928 with the same type of interior decoration, austere, but at the same time, if you could transport yourself into the 1920s in Spain, that was a very luxury location. I mean, the place where it is almost isolated now with a very good road to access, but at the same time, wide spaces, only maybe with a couple of chairs in one corner. And that was it. So that was, as I said, the very first one. Then that is in the province of Avila, actually, no, not far from where we are, right? Here in Madrid, and uh, Alphonse XIII, he just went there to inaugurate the place, and also the ministers that were invited, and it gave the entire thing a political and also a symbolic importance. I do believe that this moment marked the true birth of the network of Paradores.
Okay, so that was the birth, but how did you expand it?
Oof, that's a very good question because
Now it's everywhere around Spain.
yeah, we're talking about late 1920s, and then we know by all our podcasts, everybody knows that in the 30s, Spain had a very convulsive political activity, and also we had the civil war in the second half of the 30s, 36 till 39. Okay, consolidation, I would call it an expansion, maybe. It was a hard
Mhm.
job. It was a hard job because it was it occupied the 40s as well. So after the Gredos, they created a kind of committee. It was a committee
Mhm.
of called, let me remember the name, exactly the name, Committee for Paradores and the Kingdom Hostels.
Kingdom hostels.
But
Okay.
isn't it ironic? Because it kept the name when Franco won the war. Okay,
Okay.
but it was like that. But anyway, I assume that that name gave it a very important status. So there was a gentleman, was the Lord of Count of Gamaso, that oversaw the creation of new establishments across Spain. Uh, I mean, in not far from Madrid, in Alcalá de Henares, by the way, the birthplace of Miguel de Cervantes,
Cervantes.
the
Mhm.
author of Don Quixote de la Mancha. That one was opened in 1929, and it was a former university building, and it
Okay.
was known as the Hosteria, which is like a kind of a hostel with a certain
Okay.
luxury touch of the student. That's how they nicknamed that in 1929. Then they opened another one in Ciudad Rodrigo. Ciudad Rodrigo is like north of Avila, northwest of Spain, and that was setting within a historical fortified town. Then they opened another one in 1930 in Oropesa, which is by the Mediterranean on the coast, and another one in Úbeda in the northern part of
Oh,
Andalusia, Francisco. And both of those, they were restored palaces and noble houses. Then they went to Merida. That it was a key example of heritage rehabilitation in a city shaped by Roman history. Let's not forget, Francisco, that Merida was called 20 centuries ago Emerita Augusta, and it was the capital of Lusitania, one of the three provinces of the Roman Empire in the Iberian Peninsula. So historical buildings, and the objective of everything was very clear, was to use Spain's immense artistic and architectural wealth, rescued abandoned monuments, castles, convents, monasteries, palaces, and all that. What happened? That created a regional boost of their economy.
okay.
Get it?
Okay. So now let's move a little bit forward in history. What about
Mm-hmm.
Franco times? 1940s. The war is
Yeah.
over. Did it keep on? Did Franco support it? These national paradors?
Well, Franco knew from the very beginning when World War II was over, and we were totally isolated from the entire world. He was, as we mentioned many times, he was totally desperate to get into the world scene somehow. Anyway, what happened? We had to keep several facts that happened at the same time. It was the rise of automobile travel. The network was adapted, obviously. Um, so the state created a network that it was connecting one parador with another, specifically with roads, just for that, going nowhere
Okay.
else but from one parador to another. Okay, so these were more functional and modern in design, but still focused on serving travelers in long routes. I do believe that they reflect a very important idea. Paradores, they were not only about history, but also um, accessibility. You know, you have
Mhm.
to have easy access to them, mobility, and then all that together would encourage people to go and visit those places. So not only Spaniards, very few Spaniards in those days could afford to do that, but especially foreigners to explore the country beyond the main cities. That is the thing.
Okay, so I mean, if I put myself in
Mhm.
1950s in Spain, uh, not too many international tourists came to here. So
Mhm.
if you want to attract this clientele, this
Mhm.
wealthy tourists from everywhere around the world coming into Spain, they had to do something special. They had to bring an extra that they're not going to find in the cities. I mean,
You are very right. Absolutely. I
what was
have
given?
I have mentioned something about it. One of them is the sites that they were abandoned emblematic buildings that they were restored. So that means architecture,
Architecture. Okay, yeah.
art, preserving the art of what it was the original buildings dedicated to, or the area of the era where they were from, and also the flavor of the region. And that spirit of the Paradores, it was created in 1950s and still today is the main thing that they are trying to preserve in the Paradores. So the heritage, you know, it became, this is a very personal opinion, okay, that the Paradores became like the guardians of Spanish heritage. Many
What a beautiful
buildings.
way of putting
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Just imagine, you know, a temple castle. Really? Yeah, now it's converted into a parador. A parador? Yes, a 4 or 5 star hotels. Really? Wow. Oh, you know, it's an attraction,
Yeah.
right? So I do believe that the paradors became like the guardians of the Spanish heritage. Many of them uh, I believe that otherwise would have disappeared. Um, Many of them were saved and restored because of the paradores. And the paradores area incorporated works of arts, tapestries, furniture, and paintings, many linked to the national heritage. Let's not forget that everybody that works into the paradores, the waiting staff, the receptionist, etc., they're not working as hotel staff. They're working for the state because the paradores is controlled by the national heritage. So also another of the things was the diversification. The network expanded into national parks. I mean, suddenly
Okay.
you could find, wow, in the middle of a beautiful park, an historic castle that was there abandoned and sitting there for centuries, falling apart. And now they got and made it remote villages, coastal points, and historic city centers. Okay. Some of them were um, made in purpose just because of the location. But I would say like 80% of them 80% are those buildings that they were falling apart and they recovered them. Okay. And Francisco, being
Mhm.
spread all over the country, make a guess what it could be another of the big, big, big attractions of the Paradores.
Food. The
it,
gastronomy in the Paradors is
it
amazing.
took you a split of a second to,
It's
to
like
get it.
to me, I mean, one of the great things about Paradors is that they do
Yeah.
preserve the heritage of the historical architecture, art, but also the gastronomy, the local gastronomy. And it's not that you go to one Parador and the food in the next Parador is the same. In each Parador, they have very high end chefs creating food from where that area is, which I think is amazing. And having the wines from that area and the food, it's like, oh, one of the best things in Paradors.
Yeah. the regional gastronomy is a cornerstone of that word, my God, cornerstone of the Paradores experience. Each of them promotes local recipes, traditional techniques, and nearby producers, turning the dining room into just per se a cultural experience. Okay. Now, another thing that I would like to mention is the business model. Okay. The
Hmm.
business model, despite offering high standards, Paradores maintain a public service mission, and the quality accommodation at reasonable prices. I disagree a little bit
They're
with.
not cheap. I mean, we're talking
Yeah,
4 or 5 star hotels.
yeah. There
So,
is also a few, not many, that there are 3 star hotels,
mhm.
because many of these buildings, don't forget that they are protected monuments, so they cannot really adapt. I mean, if you go into a castle that is a tiny little one, but it's a Templar castle, and the walls are like about 5 or 6 feet wide, you cannot knock them down, make them like a foot
No.
wide in order to get the Wi-Fi passing through the wall. No, 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 you cannot. So they're like about, I think it's about 5 or 6 that are only 3 stars, but the charm of being one of those places, that is
Yes.
unbeatable. That is unbeatable.
That,
Okay.
what you just said about the Wi-Fi, I think it's one of the things when you go to a Parador,
Yeah.
what listeners have to understand is what a lot of people are talking about slow tourism.
Hmm.
You're not going to have high-speed Wi-Fi. You need to embody the place, the history. Let all the history, all the heritage that you have around
Yeah.
get into you. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think it's perfect. But
Sure.
Jorge,
Yeah.
okay, you said the first Parador is the one in Gredos.
Right. Yeah.
Is this 100% true? I mean, what's with that? God, it's not what I have.
Okay. I got 2 answers for that.
Okay,
One is you're wrong, and
okay,
the other one is you're right.
okay. Clear me up.
Okay, Paradores at the R is the one in Gredos. Okay, 1928. But
But
but something you are familiar with and that you have been there sometimes, so have I, which is the hostel of the Catholic monarchs in Santiago
Santiago de
of
Compostela.
Compostela.
There we go.
Was the origin of that hostel. It was a hospital and a hostel for those pilgrims that they used to go. So it was originally opened in 1499 as a hospital, as I said, for pilgrims, and is considered one of the oldest continuously operating hotels in the world. They integrated that building into the Paradores network and perfectly symbolizes what Paradores represents: centuries of history, still alive, still useful, and still welcoming travelers.
There we go.
So
Because to
yes.
me, when we talk
So now,
about
do
the
you understand? Do
oldest,
you understand now why I said yes and no?
okay. So the first Parador is the one in Gredos, but historically, from 1499, inaugurated by the Isabel and Ferdinand, the Catholic monarchs, it is the one in Santiago de Compostela.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so we have gone through a lot of history, but today, how many paradores do we have in Spain?
Oof, there's quite a few. Before answering that, Francisco, let me just give you my how can I call this? My conclusion, maybe, about
Okay,
the Paradores of Spain. They are far more than hotels. It's not just a hotel. To me, there is a national institution that has preserved history, supported sustainable tourism, and also revitalized local economies for nearly a century. I mean, we are in 2025, 2019,
26, my friend,
20. Oh, that's
2026.
right. Oh my God, time flies. 2026. Yeah, that's right. Oh
So
God.
in the first one was 1928.
Almost a century. Yeah.
So almost a century of
Almost a
paradores.
century.
Wow.
Yeah. So as I said, they have boosted the local economies for nearly a century. Staying in a Parador for me is not just about spending the night. It's about becoming part of a Spanish heritage or living history, because
Mhm.
all of them are different. Okay, so now going to the question that you made before. Currently, the network of Paradores in Spain has 98.
98. Wow.
There is 97 in Spain or Spanish territory, because let's not forget, we have the Canary Islands, we have
Okay.
the Balearic Islands, we have the two cities that they are in the north of Africa,
Ceuta.
Ceuta and
Mhm.
Melilla. And so in total it's 97. But there is one in Portugal. Yep.
A Spanish national parador in Portugal. Where?
Correct. I mean, Portugal, they have their own network, very similar to Paradores. It's called Posadas, but that's
Mhm.
another story. Okay. And some of them are run by the state, some of them are run by hotel chains. Here, all of them are run by the state, by the government. Okay. So one of them is in Portugal. There is some of them 5 stars. Most of them are 4 stars, and as I said, there is like about 5 or 6. I cannot remember now. 3 stars or ones. 3 stars regarding the rooms, but when you go to the dining room and the food
Oh,
experience, it's absolutely fantastic. It's just fantastic. Okay,
yeah. I mean, they're
so
amazing.
yeah.
Okay.
So listen, just to recap on all this. Uh, the variety of the locations and the landscaping and the buildings, they are located in castle, as I said, convents, palaces, natural parks. By the way, there are, if I remember well, there are like 11 that they are in World Heritage, UNESCO heritages. Okay, the I mean, they are classified as historical buildings. Some of them are urban, some of them are in natural parks. As I said, the expansion seems to incorporate new paradores. Oh, by the way, they're going to open one in Ibiza, in one of the one of the islands
Ooh,
of the
the
Mediterranean,
party island,
right? Yeah,
Ibiza.
and there is another one also that is already being built somewhere in the Mediterranean coast. So they will reach the number 100.
Okay.
They will reach the number hundreds, and it just came to my mind five, no, what, 4 paradores with 5 stars.
Okay.
And one of them is the one that we mentioned a few minutes ago in Santiago de
Santiago
Compostela.
de Compostela.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And Jorge, question.
Yeah.
In any of your tours, do you use paradors?
Okay. Thank you for the question. If you go to my website, travelingwithjorge.com, you are going to see that in my schedule tours, we don't. We don't. But I have here a breaking news for everybody in the in our little bubble of Spanish loops. For 2027, I have like about 90% finished a program that is going to include 3 paradores in the south of Spain. It's going to be
Ooh,
in summer. And many people are going to say, whoa, summer in Spain, hot. We're going to be by the water. One of the stops I'm working in is going to be as close as I can to Malaga. I don't want to go to the ones in Malaga because one of them is in a golf course. I'm not
okay.
interested in that. And the other one is in the top of a hill that is not. I mean, the city is just at the bottom of the hill, and you need a taxi to go in and out. But there is another not far from Malaga, like about half an hour by car, that suits me, and it's called the city of Nerja.
Ah, qué bonito.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Nerja with the caves, the famous Nerja caves, prehistorical caves that they were found there like about 100 years ago, something like that. So we're gonna spend there uh, I'm thinking about 3 nights. Then we're gonna go to Ceuta, which
Okay.
is the one of the Spanish territories in Africa.
Africa. Oh, you're gonna cross to Africa. Oh, I want to
We
hear about
are
that tour.
going to cross the Strait of Gibraltar in helicopter.
Okay, if you need an assistant, count me in.
I'm trying my best. Okay, there's always an option B, which is to cross the Strait of Gibraltar on one of those ferries, fast
Depending
ferries.
on weather, wind, or
And
whatever.
for those of you who are interested, you don't have to worry about any visas at all because we're going to be all the time in Spanish territory. So
Okay.
you don't even need, I mean, you need your passport because you're going to get into a helicopter, big helicopter. It's not a tiny little one that looks and sounds like a mosquito. No, it's going to be a proper helicopter. I've done that thing already twice in the last month. I've gone there, I've been researching, I've been talking to people. I've been looking for
Oh,
restaurants, locations, etc. And the reason that we're going there is because crosses the line, the central line of the total eclipse that is going to happen in
ah,
2027 at the beginning of August.
okay.
And Ceuta is going to be at 10:30 in the morning in pitch dark for 4.5 minutes. Full 100% hidden sun behind the moon.
Oh, okay. That has, and you're gonna be in Africa.
I'm going to
Aha!
be in Africa doing that. Yeah, I have already been
Wow.
within the last month a couple of times. And I haven't mentioned this to anyone. This is, like I said, breaking news. And then from there, we are flying back to the peninsula, and then we are spending another 3 nights in the Parador of Cadiz.
Oh, oh, qué
So,
bonito.
yeah, as I said, there is a few details that they need to be polished. Okay, guys, if you are interested in that, it's going to be a limited number of seats, very limited number of seats. And you can, at the time being, if you are interested in this tour, which is for 2027, please write to me to travelingwithjorge.web@gmail.com if you want to get a little bit more expanded hotels, or if you're interested. Okay, it's going to be a long waiting list for that, I know, because it's just full a full
Full
solar
eclipse.
eclipse.
Wow.
There's going to be no other like that one in northern hemisphere that long within the next 200 years. So
Wow.
I'm working on it. Keeping my
I,
fingers crossed.
wow, my mind is like, wow, Jorge, congratulations. What a great, great tour. I mean, everybody discovering Andalusia with Jorge, it's beyond. But even if you have a total solar eclipse, come on.
in
That
Africa,
is like
in Africa,
in Africa, it's like
in
perfection.
Spanish territory. We're not going to cross to Tangiers, to Morocco. Okay,
Okay.
we are not going to cross to Moroccan territory. It's going to be all the time in Spanish territory, but it's going to be in another continent. And I have to tell you, very soon I'm going to post like a little teaser of me into the helicopter, how you see the Rock of Gibraltar while you're crossing
Ah,
um,
okay, okay. So I can't
the
wait. It
strait.
is not published on your website yet,
No,
right?
it's not. It's not
Okay,
because
so
I
for
need.
our listeners,
Yeah,
really, if you're interested on this tour,
yeah,
get a hold directly to Jorge because I certainly believe in the moment it's published, boom, it's going to be all full.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I hope so. I hope so. And as I said,
wow,
the number of seats is going to be limited, maximum, and that is going to be pushing the thing. Is going to be like 14
14.
maximum.
That's
Okay.
perfect size. I mean, I love it.
Obviously, being in Paradores, getting a helicopter to fly over, being in another Parador, the city of Ceuta, and then crossing back into Cadiz. I have to say this. Obviously, it's not going to cost you
It's, I mean, it's
It's an experience. I'm selling
there we
here
go.
an
It's not,
experience.
I don't know the price yet, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be expensive. I think it's going to be not cheap, but what you get from that is going to be amazing. So,
Yeah, well, that's the intention. That's the
okay.
intention. And I've been working on that
Can't
for
wait to
almost a
hear.
year. Almost a year. And this is the breaking news.
Yeah.
Nobody else knew about it.
Not even myself. Okay. I knew he was going to say something important today, but I didn't know it was going to be this important. So
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, man. So
Thank
happy.
you. Thank you so much. Let's see how it goes.
Anyway, wow. That's great news. Anyway, I don't know if there's anything else you want to bring to today's topic, which are national paradors.
If you want to know more about Paradors, re-listen the whole episode and think about that Parador experience together with the total eclipse in Africa for
Perfect.
2027 August. Okay?
Mm. Jorge, thank you so much.
Let me
Can't
say,
wait to
Francisco,
hear.
please, let me say again,
Yeah.
travelingwithjorge.web@gmail.com. That's the email that if you're interested, please just write to me there. And very, very soon, the webpage is going to be ready for that specific tour. Okay?
So happy.
Thank
Jorge,
you.
can't wait to hear more about the other tours, but also about this one. Well, happy for you. Thank you so much for this week's all the history and all the heritage. I hope to see you next week, my friend.
We will see each other next week. Everybody here, please thumbs up, subscribe. That helps a lot. Thank you so much. Francisco, gracias.
Thank you. Adios, amigos.
And as usual, we want to thank all our listeners for being there every week, letting us sharing our talks. Follow us in Spanish Loops in Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite platform.
And in Instagram, you can find us as the Spanish Loops Podcast. No spaces altogether. If you want to find us the quickest way, just Google Spanish Loops Podcast and you will find us. Hasta la vista, amigos.
See you next week.